some trades, but a master of none. Hey, welcome back everybody, or the few people that are actually going to watch this, but I'm glad you're here. So today I'm going to bring you alongside me as I troubleshoot and repair 4.4 gallons an hour leaking from my sprinkler system. So I'm glad you're here, and let's dig right into it. Okie dokie. So I did take a stab at this. The first thing I had to do was dig out this pipe, because at the end of this pipe, at the very, very bottom, is that valve, and I can't even reach my fat arm down there far enough. It goes all the way up to the armpit, and I can't even turn that valve, so I wasn't going to be able to do anything there. So I used a post hole digger to dig around it, and that's when I hit that pipe there. But the good thing is, once Mega Pipe was out of the way, I was able to get down here where this valve, every time I turned it on or off, was a leaker. And I'm hoping to trace down all of my 4.5 gallons a minute leak that I got. But all I did was, at the top here was a nut to take off the handle, and then there's this packing nut. I was hoping that I'd only have to pack the valve, and that would keep it from, or pack the stem, whatever. I'm not licensed or knowledgeable, but then I just tightened this a bit, and then I tested it. Slip the old handle back on. Having it the right side up works, and then you can't hear it, but it's going, so it's opening up, and there's no water spraying out, because that worked. So the hardest part was digging, and I probably would have paid somebody $200 to do the digging. But anyway, it goes all the way up. So I'm going to see if it actually does leak. But that's all truly user workable there. So I'm going to let that percolate for now, because I'm going to figure out where this goes over here, and then it leaks where it connects to the backflow preventer. So that takes all that down there, and then I clean this off. That's where I destroyed it with the post hole digger. If you hear something hollow when you're digging with a post hole digger, I assume there wasn't any power lines underneath this, but I guess I could have been wrong. So I'm going to try to chop that off there, and then make a little doopy-doo and cut it off back here, and try to squeeze all that together to make a connection. But I am going to take a stab at it. This feeds the entire front yard zone, which is some of the only decent grass I have. But anyway, we're going to see how she goes. Yep. All right, team. So today's project was to cut out that broken piece right there that I had demolished, and at the recommendation, shout out to Trevor Waybright, I used a flexible PVC hose, and I was able to glue that in. We're gonna let that cure up, and hopefully when we turn it on, it'll leak real bad, and I'll lose all hope for that. But if it doesn't leak, we should be in pretty good shape. It was kind of a pain to squeeze in there. I used my wife's hair dryer to warm it up so I could bend it. Don't tell her, because that'll get me in trouble. Well, there it is. I'll have to dig out this dirt again and reinstall Mega Pipe, which I kept over the valve so it wouldn't get inundated with that sand. So had to cut back a little more and trim off a little bit of pipe, but I think that's an appropriate use of a flexible PVC. All right, so tonight's project, before we check to see if our previous repair holds, I spent quite a bit of time last night fretting over using the wrong cement, but it looks like I chose something good. I already loosened this using brute force. It's always good to have the right tools for the job, and I of course don't have any of those. All mine are really small. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean up these threads. Oh, I can feel like a chunk out of that. Wonder if that could be part of my problem, or if that's by design. Who knows? I'm gonna clean this up. I have my my rag and my brusha, and I'm just paint a happy little fitting here. Just a happy little tree, happy little thing. Probably put the camera down a bit, but I'm going to clean that up really good, get the threads nice and clean, and then we'll put some goop, thread sealing goop on there, not cement, just some goop. And this is the backflow preventer, looking like it's in great shape. I don't know if it is or not, but I'm going to clean that up real good. Little cleaneroo. You don't just clean, you got to cleaneroo. And I hear if you just take a little bit of time and care for anything you do, you're going to be successful. Usually if you're worried about not doing a good job, you're the kind of person that is doing a good job. Like I told my daughter last night, you can try your hardest, you can worry about tests, but all you can do is prepare. You can prepare for it, and people who prepare are often rewarded with results. You can't just expect results, but you can do a little bit of preparation. And when you prepare, it's often rewarded. But I've got another project I've been working on basically multiple times, and it's not successful at all. And it's kind of dragging me down. Oh, we got to get up underneath this too. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off the old vidya. Feel that. I already got a lot of sand out of there. That's more sand than I think it really should be in there. I don't know how much sand is called for when you're trying to put this stuff together, but I guess some sand adds a little bit of flavor to the whole situation. But in general, I don't think sand's good. What's that guy from that Star Wars movie? Anakin. His famous little monologue, sand is bad. Sand gets everywhere. That's no good. Sand between your toes, that's nice. Sand between these pipes, that's just the way it is. All right. So I think this is the right stuff to use. Happy. Let's paint a happy little threads right there. That's what this needs. Just a happy little threads. And I heard Bob Ross, one of the things I recorded off of his TV show many years ago when it was still on PBS. I was doing a lot of like recording from TV, thinking I was really cool. Like, ooh, I recorded some audio from the television. But he said he spent half his life in the military. And when he was in the military, he had to say, yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. And he didn't enjoy that so much. But then he took up painting. And he just said, now he paints. And he does what makes him happy. I don't know if this isn't really what makes me happy, but there's something kind of cool. Just wipe that there for later, in case of what you need. Just line that beast up there. And give it some twist. Give it a little twist. Happy little twist right there. Seal that son of a bee up. Thought I was gonna say something else, huh? all 4 of you that watch these videos. Okay, I'm going to herc on that with some gloved hands, and I'll see if it's running like a champ. This, I mean, I think it does leak a little bit at my connection that I made. But then I also noticed maybe the crack in the pipe went back further than I thought. No biggie, you just have to redo the entire thing. But there's also a piece of flexible pipe for one of the sprinkler heads branch off right there. So it might just be dribble leaking out of that and then coming down the pipe. Because I cemented it up pretty good. So we'll see. I don't think I'll be leaking 4.5 gallons an hour this summer. But we'll see. I'm not going to lose hope because this is a first world problem. Alright, I was going to put some Teflon tape on this blowout connector here, and I turned the water on already. Lesson learned. Lesson learned. After all those other repairs that I did fix leaks up there. And they're either fixed or not leaking as bad as they had been. But I turned my water on, left it on, and I'm still registering 4.4 gallons an hour of water leaking, according to the Water City Water app. But I know this. So I came back here to the valve box, and I was just gonna replace this whole thing. But this thing is, these are screw connections, and then this thing goes into a crazy T. So having to redo that will be a major deal. But since this is about as loose as I found this, and I've replaced the guts of these before, and I did replace a whole one a few years ago. It's not impossible, but it's slightly more impossible when it's all threaded together like that. Because then I have to cut some stuff out. And I have to watch YouTube videos of people that actually figure out problems. But this is... Oh, look at that. It's like a clam.
Tiny sprinkler.
Yeah, I consider that to be... Why is there water coming out of it now? That's my question. I wonder if this thing stays under some kind of pressure forever, or if there's just so much water in the line. Oh, no.
Oh, no. Is that a bad thing?
I think it's leaking when there's not even any water on. That's crazy. Well,
oh my God.
I don't think the jar lid itself, but look at that. Look at all that crud. I'm going to go take a brusha. Oh, see, that ain't bad. I don't think that's too bad. But considering how loose it was, and how not fun this looks to be, why is there water? That's a flow. That's a straight up water flow.
Where's the water flow coming from?
That's the question. Where is the water flow? I can clean up all this. And, oh, look at that. That kind of looks like my engine oil. Engine oil's not supposed to look like that. Well, okay, in all fairness, only my radiator, or my engine oil filler cap looks like that, which I think is a sign of an issue. Use some industry spec rubber cleaning agent, which for those of y'all who want to make it at home is just, you know, leaky water filled with some questionable foam. Doop doop. Ooh. Oh. Okay. Nah, I'm gonna clean this up. Maybe I'll goop it up with something. Is that? I'm no expert, but that don't look that bad. This is leaking out the top, but I think I've replaced the guts of these a few times. All right, so I just got my new valve parts. I decided to get the entire valve assembly and then take the parts out. I've done this before, but I assume the only part that was probably bad was the diaphragm, because they designed these things to not have to be replaced. Just maybe the diaphragm needs to be replaced. But there is a little bit of thickness difference, I think, in how this rubber interacts with the entire thing. So as you see down the line, the various parts and their new counterparts, I cleaned up the valve body there so it wouldn't have all the Teflon I put on it. So I'm going to put it back together and see if that fixes the issue. Because I don't think pressure on this lid is really what keeps it all together. I think this rubber diaphragm does that. I'm going to replace it, all of it except for the solenoid, because I had recently replaced the solenoids, like maybe the year before last. So when I put this guy in there, it was very evident as how tight that this diaphragm fit inside the previous valve, or the new valve, I'm sorry. It became apparent that the fit was tight. It was a good tight fit. So we're going to replace this all and see how she works. Well, the water is on, and after replacing the guts of that valve, it looks like we're good. It's got to be the simplest thing and the cheapest thing. Always something like that. I always blow things way out of proportion, and I get pretty worked up about it. It's just one of those things. I still got a little bit of water down here, and I don't know what that's from, but looks like I got lots of great digging up and cleaning up to do. And yeah, I may hear bubbling. I hear it. You hear it? I don't know, but this is no way to have a valve manifold anyway. I need to at a minimum clean up around all of this stuff and make sure it stays clean. But this is not acceptable to me in a lot of ways. I think it's been acceptable to me up to this point, but right now, yeah, I don't know. Start digging around. I'm wearing my big boy overalls today, so couldn't figure out where all that's coming from. I don't see any more of these valves though, like, well, maybe that one. No, I don't see any of them themselves filling up with water on the top like this other one had done. So, I think, well, this is one thing fixed. That's good. Good day. Wouldn't you know it, I'm sitting here trying to dig out all this other stuff, and guess what? Guess what happens? It starts filling with water again. What in the world? That's great frustration. Very great frustration. Yeah. That's the Orbit I replaced an Irritrol with a number of years ago. I'd say she's leaking. I'm pretty sure I'm sad about it. First world problems. This is not a real issue in anybody's life. First off, this is a blessing. Always, yeah. We can't consider this, I don't know. Here's encouraging words for myself, because I previously mentioned I can get pretty worked up. But if this is the biggest issue we face today, then we should be in a position to encourage and help other people. This is frustrating, but I guess in the scheme of things, everything's kind of therapeutic. Though it's kind of like I'm in a garden. I never liked, well, the Orbit's obviously cheaper. It is cheaper in every way. Oh, somebody super strong and handsome tightened that. I don't know who it was. Maybe it was this guy. They're just terrible. I'm gonna brush this. But that's not bad right now. I don't know what the deal is. What is the... Maybe it's trickling down a pipe onto a different spot. But that does not look bad. And that don't look like it's flooding as bad either. Maybe just tightening up the solenoids was the way to do it. That could have been an issue, because then it would leak out the top because of the lack of tightness. So I replaced the guts of that orbit valve, and I got good news today. My water app says I do not have any leaks at all, and I don't see any pooled water. Everything is really clean-ish. It's still a giant crater in the ground, crater of useless, but it's a lot better than it was. And the next phase is going to have to be replacing sprinkler heads that are no longer effectivo. So, not effective, or not popping up, or mechanical sprinkler heads that don't turn. But I'm happy not to be wasting water. I went from 4.4 gallons an hour estimated leak to 0 gallons an hour estimated leak. So that's good. That's an even, it's pretty good fruit from all that work.
An amateur in some trades, but a master of none.